This is the Boys Podcast on TV Podcast Industries, and we're talking about The Boys Presents Diabolical, Season 1, Episode 4, Laser Baby's Day Out. Welcome back, fellow boys and girls. Pew, 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 pew. Yes, it is episode 4 of Diabolical on TV Podcast Industries, the Boys Podcast. It is Laser Baby's Day Out. I am one of your hosts, John.
I'm one of your other hosts, Derek. I think our theme tune is probably longer than our podcast this time. These episodes, our little short episodes talking about the animated spin-off of the Boys series.
Yes. This is probably my favourite. I absolutely loved the referencing and the inspiration of the classic American animated shorts. Yeah. All music, just reactions, no talking from the characters. And, of course, instead of Looney Tunes, it is Vought tunes.
Of course.
You know, so really, really good.
Yeah, it really felt like something from Looney Tunes, something from, like, the Animaniacs, you could tell.
Yeah, exactly. It really felt Animaniacs, for sure.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, you can subscribe to us over on any drunk or sober podcast catcher. Just look for TV Podcast Industries, or you can go to our website at tvpodcastindustries.com. Just to mention, you can join us over in our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries. We have covered every episode of The Boys on our main feed, and you can also find that on one feed, which is The Boys TV Podcast. You can find that there. We also covered Invincible over on that feed as well. So lots of great stuff if you want to get your fix for more boys outside of the animated shows.
Yes, definitely. Derek, with that, what are some of the details for Laser Baby's Day Out?
Well, this episode was written by the producers of The Boys and Invincible, Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen. So, putting in, I guess, why they love the show and why they love how far they can push the things in the universe of The Boys, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And it does feel similar to Invincible as well. That was also quite adult and had what felt like a Saturday morning cartoon, but also very violent. So
definitely, and also referencing, even just like the cartoons did, the black and white silent features, whether it is Buster Keaton or Laurel and Hardy. There's some really good references, certainly in the skyscraper part of this.
Oh yeah,
so it was really, really good. Yeah.
It really was. Yeah, really enjoyable. This episode was directed by Crystal Chesney-Thompson and her partner Derek Thompson. Both of them worked on The Simpsons, Futurama, and the new series from Matt Groening, Disenchanted, as well. So quite a strong caliber there. Like Definitely. The longest running animated show of all time, effectively, and they've worked on all those shows as well. So great to see them break out over here into this kind of style of animation as well.
Yeah.
John, do you want to give us your one-ish line synopsis for this episode?
Sure. Silently, a Supe baby girl, with the help of her caring assessor Simon at Vought, discovers her powers. Laser beams from her eyes, and man, can she cause carnage.
Yes, she can. It's a really interesting setup, isn't it? It's quite a lovely story. It's Simon who's been trying to get this little Supe baby girl to pass her test. She's been on the test for 20 days. This is the 20th and final day of the tests, but she can't control her powers. It seems like she can only shoot lasers out of her eyes when she sneezes, coughs, or farts in hilarious ways throughout this episode.
Which is really funny because, yes, as you say, all the carnage that comes until the moment that her and Simon are reunited at the end. When she finally gets control of her powers, she's able to do it. All the use of her powers up till then is just that great comic timing of the sneeze, the cough, or the fart coming at the right time, at the right place, in order to save herself from Vought looking to take her back, because around all of this is because she has failed the tests after 20 days. She is up for termination, not adoption. And so Simon, wanting to have children of his own, has built a bond with Laser Baby, tries to get her out of the building. And at each step, there are snipers, security guards, full SWAT teams from Vought after her. Yeah. And each time it might be a feather comes down and she sneezes, taking out an entire SWAT team of Vought security guys. And it was just really, really lovely. And again, that point where she is comfortable at the end, where she is wrapped up in the lab coat of Simon, like a cradle around his body, and she feels safe and comfortable. Then she has full control of her powers, and man, do they get themselves out of a sticky situation with huge carnage.
Absolutely.
Of the building, the skyscraper that they're on is surrounded by hundreds of Vought security guards with guns and flamethrowers, you name it.
Yep.
And yes, it's laser beams from the eyes. In the same way as with Homelander.
Well, absolutely, but also a reference to the first season of The Boys. One of the funniest moments from the first season, where they find a laser-eyed baby in hospital, and Billy Butcher uses it to get out of a sticky situation himself. So really good. But I love the build up to this as well. You know, you mentioned it a little bit, but the build up from a security guard that doesn't want to let Simon and the baby out of the building, building up to this SWAT team that are taken out, and then it's built up right to the end to this massive army surrounding the entire building that Laser Baby has gotten on top of. Her kind of guiding light throughout the episode is basically the red ball. She's trying, every time she sees something that looks like the ball or is big and red, she follows it. So the balloon carries her through a zoo on her way to trying to catch up with it. She meets up with a gorilla in the gorilla pen. The gorilla takes out one of the army groups as well, and then she sneezes and takes off the arms and legs of one of the guys with the flamethrower. Flamethrower then falls down and he sets himself on fire. Like, the brutality that's in here with this kid. And right at the end, when she does have control of the powers, you say that she has control. Simon is directing her and who she's supposed to be pointing and aiming at and killing. Like, we saw what happened to Homelander in his young life and how it changed him and turned him into the person who would be. What's Laser Baby going to turn into after this?
Probably well adjusted if Simon is as caring as he seems to be.
Maybe. But, again, maybe she might regret being told to kill 20 or 30 people.
Well, that's it.
In her escape.
And you're right. It's the red ball, but there's some great moments. Simon's trying to, after they've escaped from the Vought adoption agency, Simon's trying to go after there's a skateboard moment where she slips away from him. There's the balloon taking her off as well. All real classic animation tropes, I guess, in a way, from the old classic American animated shorts.
Yeah. And
even then, on top of the skyscraper, there's a big red ball. It's a bit like the from The Simpsons with the donut holding man.
Yes, yep.
She's atop one skyscraper trying to get to the other, and you have the iron girder being craned across, and it lines up for her perfectly to get across, while Simon has to take this leap of faith to get across there. And I love that they do the kind of the flash before he does that of him and Laser Baby. That gives him the inspiration to jump. So it's really, really nice. Very nice. All these lovely moments where she just keeps eluding Simon as he's trying to sort of take her back and take her to safety was really, really cool. There's one moment where he's on a horse, Simon, where in the zoo, and they fall into the alligator pit and manage to escape that, but jump immediately into a tank filled with piranhas, where the horse keeps going even though it's ultimately has been stripped of all its flesh. Luckily, Simon escapes unharmed. But
it does feel classic cartoon.
It really does.
But he does find a piranha has attached itself to him, but he uses it to take out the sniper.
Yeah.
And again, quite brutally off screen, but we see the sniper's nose is ripped off first, and then we hear him screaming as Simon gets away to go back after Laser Baby as well. So pretty brutal. Again, as this cartoon has shown, there's nothing really off limits, right?
There certainly isn't. But it is the music, the intonation of the music, the slight giggles or the farts or the sneezes.
The fart
or
which he takes out the helicopter, again, another great moment. Really, really fun.
Yeah. It's all that ambient sound really delivers for me a great, fun episode.
Absolutely. One blink and you miss it moment that I want to mention. As Laser Baby's crossing the road, did you notice that both Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen are drawn into the episode driving one of the cars?
Great stuff. Yeah.
Nice little touch in there. And of course, the end of the episode. It's like That's All, folks, but ends with the "That's All, boys" moment as the center of one of the army guys is taken out by Laser Baby, and we get that circular kind of ending, and "That's all, boys." A good little nod again. These guys know their references really, really well.
Lots of blood, guts, decapitations, even the Martian mind Supe, who can float and levitate things. There's the big showdown with him because he's the one trying to terminate the Laser Baby. Ultimately gets sliced with his brain, and the noises coming from him as he falls to the ground and loses all his abilities and then dies.
And tries to put his brain back into his head before dying as well. Yeah, really funny episode. What do you think overall of the episode then, John? Do you have a score for us?
I certainly do. This was 5 terror hits the target out of 5. I really enjoyed this episode. Really, just everything. The spirit of the boys with the violence and the craziness, but with that classic American animated short feel with the music, the drawing, the ambient noises, and it was a silent comedy. It was really good.
Absolutely. I suppose it kind of answers that question they always talk about, if Tom and Jerry were in real life, it'd be like Itchy and Scratchy, but this is taken to an even further extreme. Now, if there were real people involved, this is how brutal the Boys universe would be if in animation.
Definitely. I wonder if Crystal Chesney-Thompson and Derek Thompson did the Itchy and Scratchy moments. That
may have,
because again, it's very similar to that. So really enjoyed this episode.
Excellent. That's it for the 4th episode of The Boys Diabolical. We'll be back tomorrow with our coverage of the 5th episode of The Boys Presents Diabolical.
Yes, we are also covering Star Trek Picard Season 2 on our main feed on TV Podcast Industries as well. So please, if you want something slightly more genteel, I guess, or certainly with less blood, then please tune into our Picard podcast as well. But as always, fellow boys and girls, it has been fantastically diabolical speaking with you.
Absolutely.
And can't wait to speak with you again for episode 5.
Yeah, looking forward to episode 5. What have they got in store for us next, John?
Who knows?
Bye.
Bye.